What's going on? Welcome back to Don't Steal This Podcast. This is a BlkPrint original. J5 here. Mark, when I'm recording this, Mark is not here. So actually, when you guys hear this, it will have been weeks since he's been back. But I'm actually here with a special guest. And I made sure that when I found out you were coming out here, I was like, I have to make sure we lock into the studio because for one, it's the first time I'm seeing you.
Yeah.
So it's like that's just epic in itself.
5 years, man.
5 years in itself, but also, you know, just a friend of the show, you know, in every sense of the word. Of course, I'm talking about my man Armon, the bald king himself.
We're here, shining
in the building.
We're here, man.
How you feeling in LA right now, man?
I love it out here. This is my second time in LA.
What did you do the first time? You didn't really go because we were supposed to link the first time a couple years ago.
Yeah, I was all over. I was in Calabasas shooting stuff for the pod. I was in like North Hollywood with friends. I stayed in Long Beach. Funny enough, I think I was close to you. But I was just all over. I feel like I got a very holistic experience of LA, and now I'm kind of here for like work shit, but not really work shit. But I came over the weekend, so seeing friends, staying in downtown. Was in Hollywood yesterday with someone who used to work at OVO. Yeah, man, but it's great. I love it here. I love it.
Differences from New York. I think there are so many.
Yeah, it's a lot like slower paced.
In Jersey too.
Yeah. LA's a lot slower paced than New York. I feel like people are generally nicer.
You think that? You think so?
Yeah. From my experience.
I feel like, and this is like unpopular opinion, I feel like in general, people in LA are nicer until you get in a car.
Okay.
And when you get in the car, like the nice veneer sheds very quickly.
Turns into Simpsons road rage.
Yes, it turns into road rage very quickly, and it's interesting. You think that they're nicer because when I went to New York, what is it, 2 years ago, when I went to my boy Ty's when he had his kid, it was supposed to be a baby shower, and he actually had the kid that weekend. Everyone was nice. Everyone was really chill, really cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's again from my very limited experience in LA. I feel like people are nicer. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other differences. Like, obviously, LA is not entirely walkable.
No, it's not. I was like, you know, if you're up to the drive, I'm in the valley. I don't know if you're up to the drive, but you were like, no, I'm down. I was like, I'm glad because, like, again, it's chill out here. The valley is just like a completely different vibe. Like, almost everyone from RNC lives out here except like Eric. Like, Eric's like the only one that doesn't. Mark's out here. Pat's out here. I'm out here. You know, we got a couple of members coming that are going to be out here.
I'm working on it.
Oh, no way.
I am. This was the plan. Like, I decided in like 2021, so it's been a couple of years, but I decided that I want to move out here. So it's really just like getting my finances together, finding the right thing, even if it's transferring to the LA office for Vibe. Like, I definitely want to be out here.
I'll say this, you know, as someone who has like given advice to people that have done this twice, thrice over. Take your time. It's not really a race, and you do it at your own pace because, like, again, this is your story. You know what I mean? And you're essentially telling your own story, and it takes a while. It will be my 10th year here this week, tomorrow, in fact.
Wow.
And it's just hit me today. Like, of all of the things, I'm looking through my phone, my photos. I'm like, yo, like I've done a lot since I've been out here.
Yeah, career wise and just life wise.
Yeah, like I created a life out here. So, but that was my goal when I wanted to come out here. I wanted to create a life, and it's like, come into this knowing what your goal is. You know what I mean? And I feel like I tell everyone this, like, you have a lot of work to do out here. Like, there's so much opportunity to do it. Yeah, but you know, just learn the city. I think today, rolling with me today, me and Armon are going to a show today, and rolling with me, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I see what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I have so many friends out here who live in different areas, so it's been cool. Like, I get to see, you know, what North Hollywood is like, and then what Long Beach is like, and then this area. What's this called? The Valley. The Valley.
Yeah, well, we in. I don't want to reveal too much, but we in the Valley. We deep in the Valley. Actually, we actually deep in the Valley.
It's funny too, because like this city used to be called another city. So when I looked it up on Uber, it said one thing. Then when I looked up on Lyft, it said another thing. Yeah, I was like, am I going to the right place?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like in between. It's in between. But I again, it just shows you just how like you could like literally cross one street and you're in a different city already. Like that's what it's like out here. But I'm glad you're here.
Me too, man.
Glad you're finally joining the show. And like me and you have always kind of had, it's really just been like a relationship that's been online. But like we were mutuals with Cam.
Yeah.
And Cam was like, you know, we got these young writers that are coming up. And I love, you know, support anyone. And I think I was at Red Bull at the time.
You were. Yeah.
That I had started talking to you, and we were huge into wrestling, and you were into music, and it was a lot of like my growing up has had to be like figuring out how to be like a mentor to a lot of people. Like Cam was kind of like the first time I had ever done anything like that. Yeah. And like, you know, to this day, Cam is like someone that, you know, he'll hit me up for advice or, you know, now he'll hit all of us up for advice. Yeah. But with you, it's been like, I sometimes I'd be like, I used to be like, what the fuck is Armon talking about?
I get it. That was, I'm glad we can talk about this, man, because it took a lot of growth for me to understand why y'all would approach me the way you would, and kind of the shift in things. And
don't get me wrong, like, it took a lot of growth from me too, right? To learn. Like, I think my major thing is like with me, and it's something I'm learning how to do, is like I got to remember that not everybody is gonna like react or do the same things that I would do, right? And like I'm so hard on people sometimes, and I was hard on you a lot, and it was. And
I'm a sensitive dude, so it bothered me a lot. Like
I didn't know. I didn't know.
We finally spoke about it, and then you got to understand me a little more. But like, I think the fact that you were even willing to do that was because we had a relationship too. Yeah. Like, we did the pod stuff together. We connected on a bunch of different things. So I I texted you last year. I was like, "Yo, bro, like you really were impactful in like my development as like a man and a professional, and whether you take that seriously or not, like I do." I feel like I'm getting emotional, but
it's okay. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? It's okay.
It's our first time meeting. There's a lot, but no, because like I used to be so like on Twitter, like, damn, niggas not just gonna let me get my funny tweets off, like. But I think I was entertaining the wrong people, or thinking I was entertaining.
You know what, like. I feel terrible, you know what I'm saying, about like being so hard on you at that time. And I know we're like 5 minutes in and we're already like
we're getting personal. Deep. We're getting
like,
deep.
I felt so like, but again, this is like, Don't Steal This Podcast is like it's a real show. And like what I wanted to be was like me and my friends, you know what I mean? Me and my brothers. And, you know, and it's different, you know, in the sense that like when me and Josh get together, we're just shooting the shit and talking about shit. But like, I wanted to be more conversations, you know what I mean? And
for sure.
I wanted to spotlight everybody, you know, and spotlighting the highs and the lows. Like me and you we didn't always see eye to eye, you know what I mean? But I think that like your development has been something where even if I didn't see eye to eye, I always saw that you were doing something great. Right. I would never look at it and be like, this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, is doing something terrible. Because writing is hard. We're going to talk about writing a little bit later, but and journalism a little bit later. But I think that like I was so hard on you, and I felt really bad about it. And you know, when we had that conversation and you said these things, it's like it took a while for me to accept that what I said like matters, and what I said like affects people, and I need to be a better leader and a better mentor to people, because like people will look at me like, you've done it all, and I'm just like, I haven't really done shit like you or whatever, and I look at you and I'm like, you guys motivated me, you know what I mean? Like I walked away from what you guys do, and you guys are still doing it. So like I still
we'll see how long I'm still doing it, but I'm still doing it.
I know, but it's like, you know, and I think what shocks a lot of people, like it shocks my wife, it shocks a lot of people that I know, like they're like, how did you meet these people? I'm like, I all met them in the same place. You know what I mean?
Twitter, man.
Yeah, we all became like, you can't do that no more.
No.
You can't do that no more. I hate everybody I see on there.
Me too. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Like I can't imagine cultivating the community that you created and I joined, and we've continued to create. I can't see it happening now.
No.
We're not as online as we used to be.
It's been over 10 years since we've been kind of getting everyone. It's like the Infinity Stones. Like we've been kind of like, we have something for everybody. You know what I mean? And like Market said something last year, just like I literally was someone one day was like, I'm tired of being the one that's always got to bring everybody together. And Mark was like, really? He was like, nigga, like that's what you do. Like, like that's the reason I'm here. But like, it's again, like you are to me the big example of someone who I had to change my approach and I had to recognize and really realize how to be better as a person.
Right.
So I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have gotten to where I'm at now. And it takes a village. It takes a lot of people. Like I never put all you guys together just to be like, oh, I did it and this is my shit. You know what I mean? I did it because I want to learn too. Yeah. And I did it because I take what you guys say is truth, as gospel. Sure. You know what I mean? In the same ways that you guys do. So like I'm glad that you're with us.
Me too, man.
And I'm glad that, that we're here. But I really want to break down before we get into like life, career shit.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about, like, I had a conversation with Eric and Pat the other week, and we were talking about the Oscars a little bit. We were talking about the Grammys too.
Yeah.
And like they were like, oh well, it's got to be, it's got to be Sabrina, it's got to be Billie. Do you feel strong about that right now?
I think those overall categories are gonna be fucking.
It's a bloodbath.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
it's the biggest women in the game against each other.
There's a lot of different directions it can go. I ultimately think like Sabrina and Billie and Taylor are gonna get most of all the really big shits, but I mean, there's a world where I could see them unfortunately rewarding Kendrick. Maybe this is the year Beyonce gets her. I can't see. I was
saying I can't see Beyonce. I think going into this, Billie to me seems like Beyonce kind of seems like the dark horse.
Yeah, no, 100%.
In a lot of ways.
100%.
She seems like the dark horse. Record of the year to me, Birds of a Feather seems like that's the one.
Undoubtedly,
right?
Yeah.
Album of the year, that's a little tougher.
It is.
Because if it ain't Taylor, it's Billie. If it ain't Billie, it's
Sabrina.
It's Sabrina. If it ain't Sabrina, it's Charlie. If it ain't Charlie, it's Beyonce. Like, it's tough.
Yeah, the Grammys have surprised me sometimes. I mean, obviously, their metrics are, I don't know what their metrics
vote-based.
are. Yeah, like, so, I don't know. They could surprise us and give it to Beyonce after all the shit her and Hove have been pulling to, get their recognition. But
I just don't think that defines a career. Like, her getting that doesn't put the bow on her career. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's been so great for so long that I don't think this would define what she is. I think, not including how I feel about the Grammys in general, I don't really give a shit about them. To me, they're like the Golden Globes. They're like, this is really just the Friends Awards. Mm-hmm. But like the Grammys itself, it's like, it was prestigious at one point.
Yeah.
For the past 20 years, to me, it just hasn't been that.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck either.
I don't think it's picked the best of the best. I'll say that. I don't think it picks the best of the best every year.
Absolutely not. Like, but it is, these artists do hold it to a very high, place within their resumes. So
some of them are using it as a doorstop. Some of them are peeing on it. Some of them are drinking things out of it. So not everybody cares, but and then we get to the rap categories. I'll be real. I'm a little bullish on I'm a little bullish on Not Like Us winning. I'm a little bullish. It's just seemed like the conversation around the song it's been a dark cloud for the past month and a half, so to speak. Like does the committee, do the voters be like, oh well, because to me, and I'm putting on tinfoil hat. Okay. The conversation surrounding Doechii right now to me has been like, oh, we'll just give it to her because it's feel good and she's still connected in some way, or we could give it to Glow, or we could give it to someone else because it's still connected to him in some way where we don't have to prop the song up again and potentially be in the crosshairs. Do you feel like that?
I could see that. It feels just everything surrounding Doechii right now. It does feel like her crowning moment might be coming in that category.
Yeah.
But the category is not great anyway.
Yeah. So it's very like it's to me. And again, it's like, I say this every year. The Grammy gonna give you what you like. They're gonna give you what you didn't expect in the one that, like, it's never gonna be like Killer Mike winning was like, I was just like, huh? Like, how did that? Nas winning 2 years ago it was another one where we're just like, what? How the fuck did that happen? Yeah. I feel like they're gonna swerve us because they always swerve for the rap categories, because you got to remember there's also old white folks who are voting in this shit. And I just feel very, very, very bullish on Kendrick sweeping these categories right now. Maybe one, not both. That it's nominated for. Or didn't it get Best Music Video or some shit too?
Best Music Video. Yeah, he got 7 total. So
Just off of that. Yeah. Oh, with Like That. That's fucking.
Yeah, I think Like That was best rap collaboration.
Yeah, I don't know if it wins that.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, I don't know if it wins that.
Yeah, no. I think.
How hardy are you gonna laugh if Future gets no wins this year? Be clear. 3 #1 albums in 1 year. No rapper has ever done that before. For him to walk away empty-handed, to me, it's an indictment on how all of this went down this year.
And I love Future, so I don't want to, make light of that. But I mean, when you look at how everything played out, like, well, damn, like you kind of did to yourself. So.
Yeah. But what's your read on rap going into 2025? I'm still very negative on it.
Me too. I mean, we're not off to a strong start.
Lil Baby album.
Well, LiAngelo Ball is helping out. The energy around that song. I like it. It's fun. It's fun. But the Lil Baby album was just very okay. So I mean, we can only go up from here. But who is gonna bring it up? Like I don't see Glow dropping another album this year.
No. Like, Cardi promised that she was dropping an album in 2024.
She's promised it a few times, man. I'm over it.
I think a lot of people are over it.
I'm done waiting. And I was really high on her, like her debut year and her feature run after
2021
that,
was a good year for her too.
It was
a good year. It was a good year for her.
I don't know who is going to bring it up. I mean, I presume Cole will probably drop an album.
Yes.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. Is gonna drop again? I think he could take a year off.
I feel like he kind of has to.
You think so?
Yeah, I feel like he kind of has to in light of it. To me, Gunna would be reactionary, and no matter what he does, it's going to look reactionary. But to me, I think Thug made a huge misstep this year already. I think he made a huge misstep.
And his first thing being a Lil Baby song.
Yeah, I think. But again, like Thug is as someone who is encyclopedia,
a Thug documentarian.
Yeah. Like I think that the case gave him such goodwill in terms of so many people wanting to see him do well and wanting to see him get out of this and continue his career. But I'll give him points for the Slime season drops, right?
Yeah.
That was supposed to happen though. That was already supposed to happen 2 months before it did, right? So those happened. So I won't even count those too high. But having your first verse back be on an album that has such a tepid response, such a bad response, it has been effectively drowned out, and no one is talking about this verse anymore because of where it landed. But also, like, some of this I can't blame on him. Some of this is the climate of music, of rap music right now in general. It really still is all about this beef.
Yeah,
I feel like if Thug, which is bad to say, if Thug got on that record and diss Gunna or diss Drake or diss Kendrick, it's being talked about today still. It's being talked about today still.
Yeah, and it's a really good verse.
It's a great verse, but the climate that we're in right now is people cannot let go of this thing. And to your point, the LiAngelo Ball song is kind of breaking through. We'll see kind of where it lands, but people are still stuck on this beef, and I think that it's a real tragedy. Yeah. But Thug himself, big misreading of the room thinking Lil Baby was as hot as he is. Big misreading of the room thinking Future is like could pull this off by himself right now.
And I don't even know if he was necessarily thinking about how hot they are. Those are just his guys. So we know he's a generous dude. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll link up with my niggas first. But the people are talking about the 21 Savage verse more because they think he's dissing Kendrick. So
why do people think that?
He says something about I bring a Drake to a studio, it do kung fu, something like that. I'm just like, I guess, but I wasn't thinking of that. And then I wasn't either. Yeah, I'm just like, all right, like.
But also, what the fuck is Kendrick gonna do to 21? Like that's literally picking on somebody. Like that's literally. But also, I think 21 is pretty beloved.
He is.
Just in general.
He is. Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna fly if you're trying to pull the Atlanta. You use Atlanta shit. But I mean, if you want to step for Drake, that is what it is. But in terms of Thug, like this is a big heat check year for him.
Absolutely.
He has to drop. This year. He has to drop this year. I know he was taking a break, but I think that, again, huge misstep in the Baby album. I think the Baby album, I listened to quite a bit of it. It seems like HD music, hard drive music. Just picking songs out of hard drive and putting them on there.
I got through it once. It was pretty much everything I expected. Yeah. There are a couple songs that I really liked, but I don't see it sticking in my rotation beyond this month.
It's sad. What do you think happened?
I've been talking about this a lot too. I think like his big year, 2020, like he was just rapping at a level where it was like, oh shit, like he's like he stepped things up. Like I don't think we knew he could get to that level that he was at.
It's like Jeezy. I think a lot of people compared him, though. A lot of people compared to Wayne. I was like, he's more like...
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of the end. That was so nasty.
That was voodoo.
Hold on, niggas. Like, let's slow down. Let's slow down. He don't got to upgrade you freestyle.
Yeah.
He don't got to We Taking Over and then We Taking Over freestyle. Like
he had We Paid, which
was big.
Insane.
Great record, too.
Insane. Nearly Diamond, I think. It's one of the biggest rap songs of the past decade.
Yeah.
You know what it was? I think Lil Baby... He began portraying something that I did not feel like his heart was in. I felt like this, like the superstar having dancers in the background, all that stuff. That never felt like it was truly him.
Yeah, no.
It felt like that was another artist he was pretending to be. It felt like QC was like, "This is our Drake."
Yeah.
And they were like, "This is who we want our Drake to be." And it's like that's not really what he is. And you started seeing it with the what was it? What was the last album before this one? It's Just Me, or
It's Only Me.
It's Only Me.
Fall 2022. Yep.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. There was another one. It was just like, it was just fun.
Yeah. Misreading the Room. My read on 2022, just in general for rap, was that it was very much a what's next year.
Yeah.
Because we had all of our big three kind of drop in that, except Cole.
Yeah, Cole
I think.
Feature Run. He didn't drop an album though.
Drake twice.
Drake dropped Honestly Nevermind, Her Loss. Kendrick, Mr. Morale.
Yeah.
Future dropped I Never Liked You.
Everyone came out that year.
Yeah, it was a big year.
And it was like we didn't see like a huge thing come out that year. And then Lil Baby's like the next generation. And my whole argument, Armon, has always been who's next.
Yep,
like,
I've been waiting for years.
We don't know who's next.
And people crown a lot of niggas too early, and then they run out of gas, and then they're like, "Oh shit, they fell off." I'm like, "Well, I told you to be patient." Like,
bro, it has been. It's been truly interesting to see what they've done in the absence of these big three or the big two. It's like, yeah, we got a Kendrick album now. That Cardi is never.
Oh, you talking about Playboy Cardi?
Yeah, Playboy.
Yeah, Lord knows. I don't know. Because he was the one people were waiting for all year last year.
Yeah,
like
it didn't
he dropped
happen.
2024 that and Hood by Air.
4
and all that,
songs.
like good songs. I really like.
They're
them.
not on DSPs.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm like, bro, like, come on, man, like. So Lord knows, Timeless a Weekend flop. He had Carnival last. Was that last year?
Yeah,
Carnival,
it was last year.
2023.
The beginning.
I think it was February 2024. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but and we've talked about it in the chat with like Cam. Like ultimately, the top guy was always a rapper.
Yes.
Cardi is not a rapper.
He's not a rapper.
He's a vibey, whatever you want to call him, an enigmatic type dude, and that's cool for what it is, but.
And those spots interchange, right? Obviously, like even on Drake, like even in years where like Drake didn't drop, like I think people probably would have gave it to Kendrick. I think he won the Grammy that year for 2022. So yeah, you can give it to him that year. But like it's all these spots interchange between these top three, and they've never shook. I don't think we've ever seen this before in any genre of music, where it's just been I guess Taylor Swift has been there for the last decade, but we've never seen this type of just dominance from one person or two people before. I think Lil Baby fell under the weight of that. It's been tough for him to get from under that. It's been tough for QC in general.
People put that expectation on him too. They were like, he's going to be the next part of the big three. Him, I think Uzi was one of the ones people said. They thought Roddy might get there too. Boy. Like it's sad to see, man, because I like or have liked all of these guys, and Uzi hasn't impressed me in years.
Well, Uzi, I mean, his fans grew up.
Yeah,
like his fans grew up, and he hasn't. His fans grew up. I think a lot of what's wrong with Uzi is the same thing that might be wrong with Baby. Like his fans grew up and grew out of what it is. The Baby fans are now Cardi fans now. Yeah, and they're getting younger and younger. And these guys, and Baby's not even that old. He's still in his 20s.
Lil Baby or Cardi?
Lil Baby.
Lil Baby's like 30. Yeah, I think he just turned 30.
Yeah, he's like he's not even old.
Yeah.
Like these people are and it's like rapid. You know what I mean? And so I look at 2025. I'm like, I'm sure we might get something else from Kendrick. I'm quite sure Drake's coming this year. What
twice probably.
As a fan, huge fan, I know. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen here?
With regards to Drake?
Yeah.
I mean, the PND collab album is
reception wise. What do you think? What do you think is like? Because I keep seeing people say he's just done for me. He's dead for me. But I'm also seeing people say like he's not really dead for me yet. He's not really like done.
It's the internet, bro. Like, and when it comes to real life conversations, parties, the car test, all of that, like that's a whole different thing. So I don't take the internet seriously because I think Drake is done when Drake decides to be done. Like he's He's too ubiquitous.
And there's no cancel culture. Like, no one's canceled here.
Yeah. And nothing's been proven about him either. So it's like, all this shit can only go so far. So I'm confident he's going to be fine. I honestly think his next like album, like beyond the P&D one, like could be his biggest sales wise in a while. Because I think CLB did like 630. Her loss is in the 400s.
For All the Dogs, 400.
Yeah, in the 400s. So he might come out the gate with like high fours.
I don't think
low fives.
I don't think this ends. And this is my 2025 prediction too. I don't think this ends in terms of the stalemate that we're in, the stagnancy that we're in with rap, unless he says something. I think that this doesn't end until someone's got to say it's okay for y'all to like do what y'all do again. Yeah. And I think it's got to be him. And it sounds crazy that people are like, no, well, what do you mean? I'm like, it's not going to end until both of these guys are showing that they're putting music out still. Yeah. And that goes for Kendrick, who spoke his piece, and Drake now has to speak his piece. And when that's done, people can go on with their lives. But it's that weight that's going to kill people for sure, because we've never seen him be this inactive for this long. Yeah,
and I mean, he's clearly not willing to move on yet, the Fighting Irish freestyle. Bars for Kendrick, bars for Braun. And like, he's rightfully still upset about everything. Like, that's the weird part, is everyone like coming at him for being upset at DeMar and LeBron. Like, people act like these people aren't human beings.
Like, but it's also people that would literally, again, you're right. People are being, acting like he's not a human being, but also people like they will create any narrative to be like, I'm on the right side. It's like, well, that's why you can't have friends. I saw somebody say, well, that's why you can't have friends. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean, bro? Like,
or the whole like, oh, they're not really friends, shit like that. Like,
that's the craziest take I've had, bro.
Braun was at the So Far Gone release party. Their families were real connected. Yeah, donated millions to I Promise School. Like, these niggas were real life brothers. Yeah. So
it's like, I hope you ain't dissing somebody. Like, listen, to me, be clear, Drake's always been a weird guy to me.
Corny, yeah.
He's always been corny. A weird guy to me.
Yeah.
Tattoo shit is to me makes Braun look worse than it makes Drake look to me, because it's like, y'all was that close to be doing that with each other. And you looked at that and said, that's fire years ago. Yep. And now you're doing this. It's like, no. That shit is like, you can be mad at whatever you want to be mad at ultimately, but again, I'm just more upset as a fan of the culture that we are stuck, and we're stuck in Groundhog Day, Armon. Like, we cannot get away from it.
No, it's very boring.
Regardless of what he says or does, it will always be looked at this way. Yeah. And it will always be looked at in the other person's way as being super positive, and it's boring to me. Yep. It's boring.
I agree.
I didn't know Bad Bunny was going to pop out like he did.
I didn't know.
I thought he was done. Yeah. He's cooking right now.
I did not expect. One, I didn't know the album was coming out till like a couple of days before.
On a Sunday.
Yeah, and then he did Popcast with John Caramanica,
which is huge. I love that podcast. When I saw he was on it, I was like, no, we need artists, and I guess we can go right into this.
Let's do it.
We need artists that will speak to media. Yep. Nobody does this anymore. Bad Bunny, to me, I gained 100 points. Yeah, he gained 100 points from me for doing that, because even if I don't write anymore, I still respect the art.
Of course.
I still respect the art of what you do and what everybody that does this does. Yeah. And being able to speak to an artist is a forgotten format right now. It's forgotten.
Yeah. And he talked about the Trump shit, the Puerto Rico joke at the MSG rally. It's like, it's cool to see him stand for something too. Because like, that's also something that's missing, is artists standing for things.
Yes,
the world's bigger than you, and that's why people get connected to you, is because they see your beliefs.
Yeah, because all they stand for right now is he has a secret daughter. That's all they care for. That's all they care about right now. Which is fucking bullshit. But I didn't expect that. So like, maybe it's his year again. Maybe it's back around to him again, because
them streams is high.
Yeah,
them streams is fucking high,
and they're going up. And again, it's showing. If people wanted to deny last year, Armon, this is proof right now.
Yep.
Lil Baby was one of the biggest earners in the first 3 years of the 2020s.
Yep.
He's losing to Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
What is your excuse for that? This was not a surprise album, by the way. We knew it was coming. and Bad Bunny put a surprise album.
Damn near,
yeah. And fucking put a foot in his back.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because like we've talked about how Bad Bunny kind of lost a little steam. Yeah, it seemed. But
to me, I thought his American transition, I won't say transition, but takeover to me had got put on pause.
Yeah, and it died down a little bit.
It was very weird to me. Like all the movies he was supposed to do, they stopped. He wasn't doing the movies anymore. Yeah. And then he just disappeared for a whole year, which to be fair, fine. He had a crazy couple years, but then the American expansion just kind of stopped. But now to me, him doing the podcast, and I don't want anyone listening to not think this is not a big deal, because no one does this. Yeah. No artist gives interviews anymore, especially to him being someone who's not from here, to an American outlet. Yeah. That's fucking huge.
Yeah, video and audio. Yeah. Like speaking in English. Yeah. Like, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
it's a really big deal.
I fuck with that so much. I watched a good 10 minutes of it with my wife the other day. And, you know, obviously from what she tells me, there's a lot of smoke going on with him for the Kendall Jenner shit. So a lot of people not feeling him. So hopefully he gets him back. I want to see him win. I really do want to see him win. I thought, to me, the natural progression of him was to be working with Travis more and working with Future and working with Drake more. Yeah. And then it kind of stopped.
Yeah, he stepped away from that.
Yeah, very heavily. So hopefully he comes back. But even going into journalism and you know, media, I'm going to be real. When I moved here 10 years ago, that was my goal, and as you already know. And you know, I was in Complex, I was in Billboard, I was doing a lot of really cool stuff. XXL, wrote for a lot of places. I think I kind of foresaw that this shit was like cooked in 2018, and I was like, something's going on here. I don't like the feeling of this no more. Yeah. And I left, and I remember like walking out with a chip on my shoulder and a lot of regret. But what I found was that, like, seeing people like you or our mutual friend Robbie doing so well in the field, it helped heal me in a way. Yeah. It helped me feel a lot better about stepping away, because I had friends that were doing things that like I dreamt of doing. And I was like, I was living it through you guys. Like seeing you get the Vibe was like, I used to read Vibe when I was a kid. My sister used to have a subscription. Yeah. How fucking crazy is it that you joined such an illustrious magazine? Insane. Like outlet, just like that, you know?
Yeah, my first full-time gig at Vibe, like crazy.
Yeah, literally my first full-time journalism gig was at Complex. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was, again, it's like they're doing their journey and they're doing their story in their own way. But I want to know what your general thoughts of music journalism right now is, because I don't have a high opinion of it right now.
I don't either. I have a crop of people who I respect, who I read, who I'm happy to see succeed. Not that I'm not happy to see other people thriving, but maybe I'm not as close to them, so I don't really give a fuck. Yeah. But you know, I think there are talented people. I do think that there are some not so talented people who are at the forefront and who get a lot of love and acclaim and all that. And it doesn't come from a place of hate. It just more so comes from a place of how they operate. Right. Yeah, I don't necessarily love it either. I do, and I'm glad I'm out of the place where I take critiques on journalism to heart. Yeah. I used to. I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I said it on BlkPrint radio like 2 years ago. As long as I still have my job, I'm getting paid, and my bosses are happy with what I'm doing, I don't care what anybody says. Right. But yeah, man, it's changing a lot. I mean, there's the pivot to video. There's the presence of AI. There's
That's crazy too. Have you ran into that yet?
I mean, it hasn't affected like me, but I do know there are some companies who are churning out news articles with AI.
Jesus, that's Christ, a real thing, man.
The thing that bothers me the most is like the album reviews aren't really prioritized as much anymore. Like, obviously, Pitchfork still does them. Yeah, Rolling Stone does them a little bit.
You know why?
But like,
you know why? Yeah, access. Yeah. you give something. Back in the day, a bad review would be like, we still got to go to you. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of labels and PR, they don't feel like they got to go to you guys no more. Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. And I think that no one's daring enough to just to buck the system. It takes a whole industry to buck that and say, no, we're not gonna do that anymore. We don't give a fuck about the thing, because in the end of the day, they need you. And somewhere along the lines, I don't know how many years ago or what it took, it flipped. It did. Yeah. Where it felt like media needed the access from the artist and from the labels.
The big thing is the rise of podcasts. Yeah. Celebrity, former athlete podcasts.
Yeah, where it'll
streamers. Yeah. Like, you can go tell your narrative there where you're not necessarily challenged,
yeah, exactly,
or critiqued.
Exactly,
you're just talked to and glazed even. Yeah. So it sucks, man. Because I would still love to do album reviews. I've talked to my bosses about it plenty, and they just don't really care anymore. So
what? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? With especially a vibe,
bro. Yeah,
I don't want to throw your people under the bus.
I mean, I think it's like you said, the access thing. I think that scares a lot of people. It's like, if I give this a 6, then I might not be able to interview this person. If I don't get to interview someone because I'm honest with my opinion, then
they're not worth interviewing at all. Like artists do not take this serious, and now it's permeated where like now newer artists just don't even give a shit about doing it anymore. That's why Bad Bunny being on Popcast is such a big deal.
Yeah,
they might not, Manica might not like the album. You know what I mean? And in due time, like it'll come out and he'll say how he feels about it. But at the end of the day, Bad Bunny still did what he had to do. He still did press for them,
which is awesome
because it's the level of access. Like the big 3 rappers in the game don't do this anymore. Nope. They don't interview.
we saw the Harper's Bazaar one.
Yeah, like they'll interview. I was just about to say they interview each other. Like I didn't. It wasn't like the biggest J. Cole interview on record was him and Lil Pump years ago. That was the last big one on record. That he did.
I know he did like the Slam cover when he dropped the off season.
They're talking about basketball. You know what I mean? It was very much within that. And it scares me because there are people that are coming up after us that want to be journalists and think that this is a cool art form. But like you said, there's a rise of people that just kind of sit in their studio, kind of like what we're doing right now, and just talk shit. But again, like we've been through it. Like I went to school for this, and like I think when I look for jobs, and I've been interviewing a lot in the past year just to look for a new gig. I've been like, my journey started here, but like it's taken me so many places. And I want to tell you right now, everything that you've done and you've been doing for the past 5-6 years will get you somewhere where you can get that recognition that you want for sure.
Yeah.
Because I know the frustration. The frustration is a lot, especially like being in a space where you are creative and you want to review or you want to do things. It's like I just wonder what the limit is for people who have been doing it will be. Because my limit was like being like, okay, I'm going to move over to like entertainment journalism because like music wasn't really moving. The music wasn't moving me. The music wasn't like, and again, I was coming up blogging and aggregating during like the blog era, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Kendrick, 2 Chainz, like all of those people. I was able to blog all of them and talk to all of these people. I remember like talking to Metro for Billboard back in the day, like old, you know what I'm saying? He was way younger. And like, that was just driving to Atlanta and doing all that stuff. Like that's the grind that like I loved. And then I saw it going away. And then I saw it being more branded stuff. And I was like, oh wait, we're not allowed to have an opinion on this because it'll take away the sponsorship that we have for this. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's wild. And it's funny too. You told me years ago, but like, and I was talking to Mills about it the other day. Like you told me years ago when I'm ready to pivot, come to you. And like, this was when I was still freelancing. So I was like, pivot? Well, why would I want to pivot? This job is awesome. Like music journalism is so cool. Go to shows for free, talk to all these cool guys, get paid to write about music. Pivot? What? Here I am, 2025. The pivot is on the horizon. The pivot is on the fucking horizon.
The pivot's on the horizon, man. Like you got to be able to pivot. Like I came up under, she's going to be here this week too. I came up under Lauren Nostro, and for better or for worse, she was my biggest champion, my biggest critic. She was I always tell people, I came up under Lauren Nostro, the hardest editor on the planet. My shit,
I've heard.
My shit would be blood red, dog. My emails would be filled. Like she would fill my emails with edits. You know what I'm saying? But like it made me better. You know what I mean? She was rough, but it made me a better writer. It made me a better, someone who was able to look beyond the lines and see what was going on. And I don't know if you got that, like, what was that movie called? I don't know if you ever seen the movie called Whiplash about the drummer.
No.
It's like about a drum teacher who's like really hard on his student. Probably a terrible movie to compare this to, but like I came up through that, you know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of like the same type of boot camp that I came up under. And like I look at these kids now and I'm like, they're excited for a byline. I used to be just excited to fucking have my shit right and have it correct. Because when you have it correct and the artist comes back to you and they're like, I love this. Like one of my favorite things was like I had interviewed Alex Toomey, and Thug sisters were so excited, and they hit me up and they were like, we really love this. Like, you really capture who he was, but also who Thug was. You know what I mean? And that meant a lot. Or interviewing J305, I think I brought this up on the show before. Like he sees me anywhere out here in LA. And he remembers that. He carries around the fucking article all the time. It's like I remember that because that was a struggle that I had, and I had started to see that struggle before. Yeah. Where people were like, we don't think this is worthy. We don't think this is worth it. Every fucking artist is worth it. You know what I mean? Every artist is worth it. And I just don't think that there's that passion to do that anymore.
It's not. No. I mean, fuck it. This is going out like publicly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I won't say it then. Never mind.
Well, you championed Cash Cobain. You know what I'm saying? That was a big kind of movement too. You championed him heavy.
I think I don't know if I was one of the first to interview him, but like maybe I was. I don't know. But that was cool.
You was getting all the slizzy. Listen, I got the slizzy sex kit in the house somewhere.
I still got it.
It's unopened. All right. I'm not using that at all. I'm not using the slizzy sex kit. I don't even know where it is. I gotta find that shit.
It's somewhere in my room, but
it's been like a very long journey for you. Like, do you have any regrets? Do you have anything that you wish to do? None. Even if you do pivot, not saying that, you know.
No, I think that's why I'm so like comfortable saying I'm ready to pivot, because I've done a lot, things I didn't even expect to do. And I think I've done stuff that matters. Like, I'll see people at events and they'll be like, yo, that article you did, whether it was recent or whether it was years ago, like, you know, getting that feedback and just having the gratification of knowing like I've done good work and I've worked with great editors who have made me better. Like, there's nothing that, you know, I think would like eat away at me if I switched roles. So I feel very fulfilled. Do
you feel like you're at the point where you could give people advice now?
Yeah. I felt that way for like a year or two now.
What advice would you give somebody right now?
For someone who wants to be a journalist right now, I would say like, one, get your reps in. Like, just write anywhere that you can, or start a Medium page like I did.
I remember the Medium page.
Yeah. The Medium was booming in the pandemic. Yeah. Just get your reps in, and also like, try to stand out. Like, don't do what everyone else is doing. Like, and if there is a hot topic everyone is covering, find a new approach to it. Because I think a lot of people, and there are people in the space to look up to, but I think a lot of people will try to emulate or embody them rather than being themselves. Yeah. You know, I think that's the one thing I took pride in is, especially on Medium, it was like people were coming for me. They weren't coming for me because I wrote at Complex or something. Like, people got invested in my writing, and I always try to take a different approach to things, and it worked out for me. So get your reps in, network your ass off. I DM'd so many different people in the music space, some who didn't answer me at first, and then when I got a little bigger, they started jacking me, and network your ass off, go to events, go to shows, meet people.
I hated that part, Armon.
It's a lot.
I told you when you got here, it's like, I got my social battery is like, it's never been great. I never had a word for it back in the day. I used to be like, I'm so like over this shit. Like the networking part probably is like the worst part for me. Like having to meet with like PR people. I met some really dope PR people. Let's not get it let's not get it fucked up. Like some of my biggest interviews came from some great people that worked in PR and who I networked with. I think it was just the constant doing it was just sounded like, because PR is also like a quiet as it's kept, like it's here today, gone today type shit. Like some of my favorite reps are like not doing it anymore, or like they lose their artist or like shit like that. It's like I gotta go talk to somebody fucking new. I don't want to do this shit. Like I remember like what's the shit called? Digital treats or whatever the fuck it's called.
Audible treats.
Audible treats. Like it used to be a new nigga every week in Audible treats. Like is Dharmic still there?
Who?
Dharmic.
I don't even know who that is.
Dharmic. Oh shit,
maybe not.
Somebody know Dharmic. Dharmic used to work at Complex with me, and he moved on to Audible Treats, and I think he's at a label now. Actually, I think Dharmic is at a label now. But it's like I used to, again, they just
so much turnover.
Assembly line. Like you just never know. But I also think that like, I feel like people who want to get into it, they're scared to approach people. Like you weren't afraid to approach me and ask questions. Cam especially wasn't afraid to approach me and ask questions. I think people now are afraid to approach people and ask questions. Like I think that has been the one thing that I've seen the most is people like, I don't know, he might be a little mean. It's like, no, just like hit them up. Like people are usually a lot nicer offline than they are online.
No, absolutely. Just be earnest. Like I always tell people, like try to add value to a situation or to someone's life. Like don't just hit them up, try to get something. Try to contribute something. Try to even teach them something. So relationship building is everything in this space. I wouldn't be where I was without building the relationships that I've built on top of, being good at what I do too. But
when are you leaving Twitter?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever leave. Like my usage has decreased significantly. Significantly. I might tweet like 3 times a day. Like if there's a sports game on, I'll tweet a little more. If there's like wrestling shit, I don't even tweet about wrestling all that much either. Like, yeah,
you can't. They'll hang you.
It's nasty. It's nasty. It's nasty. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm leaving, but I am on Blue Sky now. You haven't followed me back yet, but it's okay.
Oh, I don't see. I'm barely on it. I get on and I post one thing, and I'll leave. I'll do it right now. Shit.
Yeah, I made a Blue Sky on New Year's Eve. I was like, fuck it, let me just do this because I heard y'all talking about it for so long.
I like it. I'm trying.
I like it too.
I'm trying. I swear to God, I have not looked at my followings.
It is okay.
For a minute. Okay. Here we go. There's a bunch of people that I know in real life that have been following me. There we go. I like Blue Sky. I think what's crazy? Blue Sky and Threads have such a different vibe. Mm-hmm. And I think someone summed it up really great the other week, and they were like, Blue Sky is good for conversation. Threads you just post and walk away from.
Yeah.
And I think I feel that. I feel that a lot. And I've talked to Mark about this shit too. I'm just like, Threads is just so nasty sometimes. Like my algorithm's cleaned up a little bit since I started posting. Yeah. But it's so nasty sometimes. But it's also like I don't really know who from Instagram is looking or following what I'm doing. Because remember there was that mass refollow from when you converted over. But I wonder who's gonna win out. It can't be both. Yeah. Blue Sky seems like it's going to be the one that wins out.
Blue Sky's on the up and up. Like I think
28 million, I think, as the time we're talking.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to stay. There are some people like you who have completely left Twitter and are on Blue Sky and like have stuck with it for these couple months. So I'm like, wow, it's
dope. I got to be more consistent, but I'm just I think leaving Twitter before I went to Blue Sky, it's made me like realize I don't have to be on the shit. Yeah. So I'm literally like I'm just treating it like it's just something that I pop in on. Like I don't expect to get like what do I got like 7,000, 8,000 followers right now. I don't want that. I don't expect to get that. I just want my shit to be the people that I fuck with. You know what I mean?
You're out of the social media star phase.
It was a crazy it was a crazy phase because like I look back on my pictures, Armon, like just kind of like I'm trying to come up with like a 10th anniversary post. Yeah. And by the time people hear this, it'll probably have been out already. But like, I'm trying to come up with like a 10th anniversary post or whatever. And I'm like, man, I was really like social media, like God at one point. Like it was kind of crazy. I would go places and people would be like, oh, it's you. You tweeted this crazy thing. And it was like, I guess maybe 2019. I still was kind of in it then, but like I think after the pandemic, I just didn't care about that shit anymore.
Yeah, I caught you right at the end of like Twitter J5 phase.
Yeah. Well, I met my wife literally, I think the year I met you. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started kind of peeling back and forth. I was still trolling a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then like I think maybe 2021, 22, like I completely pulled back. But that people don't understand that too. Like there was an age where you really could get bags off social media.
Oh, absolutely.
And I said this before, like this is we're the last train of niggas getting bags off social media. Like they're getting bags now from getting like the check marks and shit, but they're not getting it like how we was getting it back in the day.
It's not the real hustle.
It was not the real hustle because like I will come like literally I got hired off of Twitter from Joe LaPuma because of my tweets. And from there, I worked at Complex Music. I did shit for Complex Pop. I did shit for Complex Sneakers. And that's how it happened. It was off of social media shit. You can't do that no more. Yeah, no. Because now in some ways, it's cool because you gotta come up with your own hustle. But the other way, it's like you could really be legitimate. You were able to be legitimate at that point. And I think what killed that was there was an age of I guess like first person journalism. It was very like gonzo like journalism where the writer was the I guess the vision. The writer was a vision, and I think that started with like Ernest Baker back in the day. Like he was kind of big in that like it was very self journalism. Like it's about what I feel and how I felt and what I felt going home, and it was huge at one point. Yeah. But I felt like that was kind of the beginning of the end because everyone thought they could be Ernest Baker at that point.
Yeah, everyone does not do it well.
Yeah.
Like I had a phase where I was doing it, and I kind of moved out of it. I was like, I don't really like this anymore
because it's like we are. In so many ways, like in terms of media, being a journalist, we are the voice of like kind of expanding on what people are trying to hear or what they're trying to learn. We shouldn't be the character in the story, and I think that was what it was. And I think to some certain extent, like in that phase of like Armon, it's so crazy. Niggas who were journalists were rock stars on Twitter. Yeah. They were rock stars, bro. Like we were the characters, and I regret that. I really do regret that. I think it was a bad idea. I think it did more harm than good.
Seemed good at the time, but and we're seeing some people who are struggling with that to this day.
Yeah,
like moving out of that. I'm the centerpiece of it all, and it's cringe, like secondhand embarrassment.
Of course, and again, like the shit is cyclical. You know, life is cyclical. The world is cyclical. But I'm hoping that in the future we can not only get more honest journalism, but get more writers who are young and that want to kind of create a new space. Like you said, be different.
Yeah.
What's going to be the next thing? I don't know. But it's going to take, like I said, a whole industry to change and metastasize into something that's completely different. I don't know what it's going to be. I look to you every day and I'm like, you're still in it. Like, I don't know how you're doing.
Begrudgingly.
I'm like, you're still in it, man. Yeah. And I feel like Armon, New York Times call you, you're like, you're in it.
I'm in it.
You're in
doing
it. New York Times called you, you're in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're doing a lot of, you're doing stuff where like it could matter. Like what was, when you were in college, what did they make you like do a lot of? Because when I was at VCU, they made me do court reporting. I had to go to a court and I had to like do an article based off of the case that I was watching. It was like a civil case.
Yeah, I had like all different types of, because I was a communication major, so I had all different types of like I took like oral communication and visual communication. So I feel like I had a very
that was at Cornell, right?
Yeah, Cornell. Yeah, so I had a very holistic like view of the communication discipline. And I had a focus in media studies, so of course I did like media stuff, but writing a lot of papers, speeches, presentations, like it was all over. I always loved writing and felt I was second best at writing, first best at public speaking. Yeah. So primarily those two things, but like I didn't have necessarily like a journalism focus. Like, this is something I picked up after graduation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
because I did forensics public speaking in middle school. I did that like at the competition style shit. Yeah. I would come up with like, I did something called impromptu speaking. I guess this is how I learned how to bullshit so well. Where you got 3 topics, you picked one, and you had 10 minutes to create something about it and then talk about it. I used to kill at that shit. I could probably still kill at it today.
I can see it.
Like I can still do that shit today, but I really love public speaking. Like it's one of my favorites. But now I feel like as years have gone by, I get more nervous speaking in public. Yes.
Wow.
There's always a point before I do a pod where I get nervous. I get like deathly nervous. I get like jittery. I'm just like, I don't know, because I want it to go well. Yeah. I told Josh this shit all the time. I was like, are you good? Like I'm nervous. Like he's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I would never be able to tell that.
I'm always nervous. I think the only thing I'm not nervous doing is A Show, because it's so. At this point, A Show, I've been doing it for so long. Yeah. It's like me picking up the phone and calling you or calling my friend or calling Meals. You know what I mean? Like it's just so easy for me to do. A pod where it's like, okay, you are the host. This is what this is going out to me. I think about the amount of people that are going to hear it. Wow. And I get afraid. So it's like, and building BlkPrint in this channel this year, it's like I want to get better at like not being nervous, but I want to build it so that like it is where the A Show is, or you know, bigger than that. But I still get nervous, man.
I would not be able to, especially when you're a guest on a pod, nigga. You be going crazy
because I'm not. It's not mine. Right? Okay. It's not mine.
That makes sense.
Because when I'm a guest, I'm like, fuck it.
I feel like some people would get more nervous as a guest. No, they're being exposed to a new audience and all that.
When I hang up as a guest, I'm like, shit, I killed that shit. That was my shit. Like I killed that shit. Fuck it. That's funny. Have you ever thought about what being like you get a girl, right? You get a girlfriend. Have you ever thought about being a relationship YouTuber?
One of my exes wanted to. At the time, I was like, no, absolutely
not.
Like
what, pranks and
shit? I'm
not
doing this bullshit. Like one of those YouTube channels where you like talk about like the relationship and different topics and shit. Like we never like really fleshed it out, but I assumed she wanted to just like talk about us. And I was like, I don't really want to do that.
I feel like you would have done that.
I probably would have. Like she probably would have convinced me. And would I be open to it now? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
You're definitely gonna be like you just got the relationship YouTuber look. I'm too old to be doing this shit now. You got the relationship.
What is the relationship YouTuber look?
You know, just like a nice nigga. You know what I mean? Just like a nice nigga. You know what I mean? That's like it just is what it is.
I'd be open to doing like fun shit, like diverse content. Like okay, we can talk about long distance and how we handled that, and then we could like do TikTok dances.
So now you're saying she long distance.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
What? Who's
you just revealed it. You just said it.
I don't got a girl. I don't got a girl.
Armon, you like getting the girls that don't live in the same city as
bro.
You.
I'm trying to get out of that, bro. I'm too many away games, bro. Why can't I have a home turf? Like, yo, bro, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. But
I don't know. I just feel like I see relationship YouTube in your future.
Maybe. You never
Armon
know.
And whoever her name is.
I've deemed 2025 the year of me getting uncomfortable again. So.
Oh, what's that mean?
I mean, the biggest thing is once I get home, I'm gonna do 75 hard. You know what that is, right? Yeah, I'm gonna do that because I'm big now. Like I need to slim up and get beautiful again. So, committing to my fitness again, taking some time away from alcohol. I've done a good job of slowing down with that, but I'm about to turn 30, bro. Like I'm seeing life differently.
It's so crazy to say. I find it so funny when niggas say, I'm turning 30, man, I'm seeing life different. I'm like, nigga, I didn't start seeing life different until I was 34. Like, not that I was drinking or whatever. Yeah. I do think you stop drinking. Just cut it out.
I could see a world where I do.
I would love that.
I could see a world where I do, like, for sure.
It's so much better over here.
Hey man, I've heard great. Like I've had friends who have completely cut it out, and they all talk very glowingly about it. So I'm like, okay, because I also think about like, why do I do it? I did Dry January last year, and something that I realized, it was the day that I got approved for the Bianca interview.
Yeah, Bianca Belair.
Yeah. And I immediately wanted to drink, and I was like, okay,
that's not normal.
My consumption is tied to me celebrating something. So mentally, I feel like I use it to celebrate things. Yeah. And it's like, but you can find anything to celebrate. Yo, I made it to Friday. Let's drink. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can make an excuse to drink for any reason. So I was like, all right, I need to like disconnect those things. Right. And so I think just through therapy and just through like growing and maturing, like I'm constantly thinking about why I do it. Like, obviously it's a social thing too. But I don't need that to have fun. Like I'll be having fun just being me. So,
exactly. You're a fun person.
Thank you.
Without the shit. You know what I'm saying? You're a fun person without all of that shit.
I agree. And so, I think it's just like this year is all about just like.
Is it uncomfortable for you to not drink?
No, it's not. It's just like, it's something that I enjoy doing, which probably sounds twisted. Yeah.
But I actually think it is uncomfortable for you to not drink. I think it does go with your theme because there's a comfort level of you saying it's so social. That means that you could pick it up and not be like, oh, like maybe I don't need this today. Like it's comfortable. It is a comfortability, but just as much as it is for me to say, I don't want to drink soda no more. I literally have been saying all year, I'm not drinking soda no more. There's Baja Blast in my refrigerator right here. Like I need it. You know what I'm saying? But I need to stop. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's not comfortable, and it's okay to be like, it's not comfortable for me to not do my vice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like without you knowing it, you are doing something that's making you uncomfortable. Without you, like unconsciously, you're doing it right now already.
I might be. I don't know. So that's like the process I'm going through this year. Like getting back in the gym, challenging my body. Yeah. Taking time away from alcohol, because my friend Nick, who when you came on the podcast, my former co-host, he did 75 hard, and after he did it, he was like, "Yo, I don't even want to drink anymore." Like
that's crazy.
Like he might.
Some people do the opposite of that shit.
Yeah. They get even deeper into it. So I'm just looking forward to that, and I want to pick up some new hobbies too. Like I might want to do piano lessons again, or join a fucking softball rec league.
You Cornell niggas, man.
we different,
you
man.
Cornell niggas.
We versatile, bro. We versatile.
But, I mean, we're going to be doing something uncomfortable, or at least me. I'm going to be uncomfortable as shit tonight. Thank you, Armon.
Yeah, man. Thanks
for being on the show. This is a very personal and eye-opening, and this is what I like.
Yeah, man.
I like this type of shit. Yeah, I like this type of shit. Just kicking it, chilling. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to Don't Steal This Podcast, and of course, remember, don't steal this shit. This is all BlkPrint property, motherfucker. We'll be back at you with another episode in a couple days. I think we got a couple of these. I don't know what dates they're coming out at, but there's a couple of these already being made. But thank you guys for listening, and make sure you follow us on Patreon. Follow me on Twitter. Shit, I'm not posting on there, but follow me on Blue Sky. Same name at OGJohnny5. Yeah. Follow Armon. You're still Armon on
at Armon Sadler on everything. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
The Blue Sky shit is weird.
It's a long ass.
They need to fix that.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do that.
I don't like it.
With Twitter kind of like patenting the whole username thing, but we're all on there, and thank you guys for listening, of course. So For Armon, I am J5. Thank you so much. I'm looking at a camera that's not here because I'm so used to it. But they literally would have been right there. But thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Yes, indeed.